Okay, this is going to be initial power up. These two units here have been paired together. They recognize each other via Bluetooth technology, and they've also been paired, in other words, to talk to each other on one of 4 channels. Of course, you can select A for a channel, B for a channel. Channel C would be the A and the plus together, and channel D would be the B and the minus together. So A, B, C, and D. I've selected channel B. So previously on a video, I've shown you how to pair these on either channel A, channel B, channel C, or D. That's already been done on these, and they're in the off mode right now. So to turn them to the on mode, you hold the button down. It's a little telephone button until you see the 3 blue flashes. And of course, anytime you see a flash or any kind of a change in the mode, you usually hear some kind of audio inside also. And I heard the low followed by the high tone in the ear speakers. So let's try this one here, and you can probably even tell or be able to hear the tone. Okay, so now what we have is we have this unit and this unit paired together, just turned on. First thing I do is I always wait about a minute or two, because the technology they're using way beyond my scope, but they need to establish a link between each other. I've been having a little bit of trouble with that. So we've got them turned on and we're ready to communicate. 2 different ways they say to communicate. One of them is just to say a loud voice into the microphone. So supposedly we could take and speak loudly, and I guess I could say something like "run for your life" or "wake up" or whatever you want to do, but you have to talk really loud into one of the microphones, and that is supposed to open the line of communication between the 2 Cardo BK ones. I've not found that to be reliable, and I'll try that right now. It's one of the options, and I'm not going to try it. But the other option you can try on these is to actually press or tap, they call it, the channel that you have selected for your communication. So rather than do just loud talking, I'm going to establish communication by tapping on the channel and then talking to open up the intercom conference / chat line. Test, 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 test. Wake up, wake up, wake up, test, test, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, test, 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 wake up, hello, hello, test, 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 test. So far nothing, so what I'm going to do is hit the B again. Test, 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 test. So here I'm going to tap B, which is the channel. Test, 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 wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. So nothing so far. So now I'm going to try it on the other helmet and use the speaker or the microphone that's on that helmet. Test, 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 test. Okay, so finally what I ended up doing is I tried it on the helmet that I'm wearing. And again, it's not reliable on the initial startup. So what I did was, we have both of them in the on position. You could hear how much noise I was making and it wasn't working. So what I did was I tried the B button here with a tap, and then I used my microphone that I have in my helmet, and as loud as I could, I tried to establish an open line of communication. Wasn't able to do it, so I switched by leaving my helmet on, and over here I momentarily tapped or pressed the B button over here, and then I used this microphone right there, and I very loudly said that. So basically that did open the line of communication. Now what I found is after 30 seconds you're going to hear a small beep, and what it does is 30 seconds of silence. That line of communication is going to go ahead and go into like a standby or sort of a closed mode. So let's just see here. It may have already been over 30 seconds. And we'll just wait quietly and see if we hear one tone. It's a low tone, which means that that line is shut off. Okay, just heard it. That was about 30 seconds of silence. The line is shut off and you heard a one low tone. Again, these are in normal standby, operating normally. And what's neat is the line of communication right now has been shut off. I find it once we have that initial communication open, it's pretty easy for it to communicate just using what they call the VOX or the intercom voice activation. If not, then you have to go back to the initial tap of the B and then a voice to see if you can get it to communicate. But once we've already done that, which we did earlier, we let it go into the standby or the line, the communication line shut down. Let's give that a try. Test, 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 test. Okay. It took me a little bit of work saying kind of loudly, but about the fourth or fifth time it opened the line back up. Now the other option is to make these microphones on here more, this is real life experience for just me, make them more sensitive. So I think it's just critical. I mean, these things are way up on the side of your face, and from experience, wearing a headset for many, many, many years, I think this microphone should be able to come out further, closer to your mouth versus being back this far. And they should at least offer a communication option here, like a little bit longer tube or something that would allow you to communicate closer to your mouth. In any case, we're open right now, and something they say to make this mic more sensitive is to press the plus and the minus. What I find is they say it's going to, normally in regular sensitivity it flashes blue. It'll flash purple when it goes into high sensitivity for the microphone, and it'll flash red when it goes into closed mode, so the microphone won't work, and it kind of cycles through those. So let's just say we got it all up, we're running, but you can't hear each other very well because obviously they didn't make this, in my opinion. This should absolutely be able to go closer to your mouth where the sound is coming from. So to make up for that, let's go ahead and put it in a high sensitivity mode where I can't hear my girlfriend most of the time. So I would hit these two, and I'll do that right now. And nothing happens. And you say, okay, well, they see that's how to switch it. What they don't tell you is that it won't switch when you have an open channel or an open chat communication. So let's wait 30 seconds of silence again. When we hear the beep go off, that's when we can change the sensitivity of the mic. But the mic sensitivity cannot be changed when you have an open intercom channel slash chat line. Okay, as you just heard, and I don't want to make any real noise, but the obviously a little bit of noise. You don't want the thing, the communication line opening up. But here's my two helmets. I heard the lower tone. That means that the intercom communication chat line is shut down. Now I'm going to change the sensitivity of the microphone right here. So I'm going to try to make it so that it's more sensitive, which is purple. So let me give that a try here. Okay, there they were. They flashed purple. And the crazy thing is they're continuing to flash purple. I don't know what the hell that means. But again, it's a little bit quirky. And let me hold them down again. Okay. This obviously is one of the perplexing things about this, is it reminds me of DOS 101 or programming for initial programming. So what I do whenever this happens, things get a little bit silly, turn it off. So I'm going to turn this one off. That's off. I'm going to turn this one off because I don't know what mode that is in right there. And when I turn them back on, they will not be talking to each other on that line of communication. So I can adjust both microphones maybe to the high sensitivity. So anytime you turn anything off or turn it on, you got to wait a couple seconds. So let's go ahead and turn that back on. Okay, that one's coming online. It's kind of a cold reboot, I guess you'd call it, an on-off. Startup. So we'll wait for them to start up. Anytime I start them up again, I'm going to wait about a minute or so for them to communicate back and forth on Bluetooth. And this just seems like a little bit too much, especially for the high cost of these. This is kind of button technology from years ago, and there should be no reason that they can't have either something that plugs in on one of the ports or something to adjust all these, or a little app on your telephone so that you can just simply turn the microphone volume up or down, or adjust the volumes up or down, or even to turn the unit on and off. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm assuming they're talking to each other. The Bluetooth has paired up okay, and they're on a channel B right now. I am going to adjust the microphone on this one. Again, just like I tried, did not work. I hold this down until I see it flash purple. Okay, it actually went to red, so it's going from blue to red. So in other words, the microphone, when it's in red, it's back in the blue, which is the standby mode. Nothing's happening. This microphone right now, because that had flashed twice red, that microphone, I believe, is not working. So let's try it again, and I'm going to assume it's going to go to purple. Nope, it actually goes to blue. A little bit quirky there. Let's give it 3 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds. Let's hit it again. There it is. That's purple. So those two went purple. And I'm very, I believe what that does then is it makes the microphone so it's going to be the highest sensitivity. And what I'm going to do on mine, even though I don't need it because my voice I think is just deeper and it's easier for the microphone to pick it up, let's play a little bit with mine to see what happens here. We'll hold them both down. Mine went to red, so red is next. So it goes from blue to red, which turns it off. And then I'm going to hit them again. Comes on to blue, a little bit quirky. And then we hit them once more, and I'm hoping, yep, right there, and it went to purple. So we've got both microphones right now in the high sensitivity mode. Now let's see what we can do for establishing communication, just as though we'd started with just the regular sensitivity on the mic. I'm going to try it without pressing any buttons. They say it works. Test 1, 2, 1, 2, test, communicate, hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello. Test, 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 test. Test, test, test. Okay, so far nothing. So, and I hear that by little echoes in my ear. So what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to press the B, just tap it. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 Test. Test. Open. Hello. Wake up. Hello. Cardo. It's time to wake up. Nothing yet, so I'm going to try the second time. I'm going to just tap the B. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Still not working. Now I'm going to go to mine and press the B. And I'm going to see if maybe that... Hello, hello, test, 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 test. Okay, finally, I got it opened up, and the reason I can do it is that on my helmet, I keep saying that, and then I'm hearing like an echo. And I think the echo is because I'm talking to this one here, and I'm actually talking to myself. So it's coming from the number 2 rider's helmet through my, into my headset, and I hear it. So it's quite a deal to establish that initial communication. Although the way I read it, they say you can just start talking. That has never worked for me. I hit the B here, sometimes just tap it and then start talking really loud, or I'll hit the B and start talking really loud on the one that I'm wearing, and eventually I'll get it to work. So right now my assumption is that the microphones are both in the high sensitivity mode, and we also have, obviously we do have a line of communications open. Test, test, test. Now they say you can go between like 3 different helmets. Let's see, put mine down. And they say you can go with like 1, 2, 3 Cardos, which is not unusual to have 3 riders. You can go up to 5 riders. And again, you communicate on different channels, but they say that you can communicate, like these right now are talking to each other on channel B to B. And I believe then what needs to happen is you go, look at my notes here a little bit. It's a little bit perplexing and beyond me and way beyond this video, but you can go, I believe then what you do is you actually hold down like the B on, or I'm sorry, the A on this one, and then you actually shut one off, I think is what you do, and then you start with the initial, and I've labeled them actually as BK1 and BK2. I know this gets a little bit perplexing, and I apologize. I actually have it labeled as like Unit 2, and this one labeled differently, Unit 1. So what you do is you shut Unit 2 off. This is just a rough idea. You take Unit 1, start up Unit 3, and then what you do is you say, okay, I'm already using B to communicate with B, so you say I want to go A to A. And then I believe what you do, I really don't even know what the heck you do on the other one, but you can get an idea that once you get into 3, 4, or 5, it gets a little bit beyond my scope, and I appreciate it if anybody else has any information, please share it with everybody. They're a great communication device once they're up and running. I love it that the company is in the USA and that they publish their number in the help manual, and they've been very good and answered the phone each time I've called them.